whenever we spin the front wheel, our front axle rotates, and therefore our front differential rotates, and therefore our front drive shaft is going to rotate. See how it's locked in now? That's all you're doing. And now the axle spins with the tire. Welcome back, I'm Alex. We're in the new shop. Hopefully the lighting is decent. We're still tinkering around a little bit, but we will 100% be utilizing this lift, which is now at our disposal, because we're talking about hub lockers today, how they work, what they do. I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions around these things, and at the end of the video, we're actually gonna install these new, nice gold-worn hub lockers on this old truck, and we'll really get into the mechanical workings behind these things. The only modern truck, to my knowledge, that still comes with hub lockers is the Superduties and the Fords. And well, you guys can see the mechanism here. I'm sure many of you guys recognize this. And this right here allows the hub or the wheel to detach from the rest of the drive line. I think where people get mixed up or some misconceptions is with this word lock right here. So now the hub or the wheel is locked to the front axle, but it doesn't necessarily mean that this wheel is 100% always going to get power when in four-wheel drive. We'll head back to the shop and I'll explain what I mean. Fellows, we are almost at 100,000 subscribers. So if you like content like this, please consider subscribing. Helps me out, helps the channel, helps us do more stuff like this. And the basic premise of having hub lockers is to control whether or not your front drive line spins while you're driving down the road. You might be saying, well, Alex, if I'm not in four-wheel drive, clearly the front drive line is not gonna be spinning anyways. And you're probably wrong, because I have the perfect example with my old 2017 Ram 1500. All right, so we're in two-wheel drive, obviously. Now, you guys will see what's gonna happen with that front drive shaft already by now. But why not, we'll take it for a little spin. So these hubs here are not unlocking hubs. Obviously, some trucks have them. You can see right around here, it says lock and unlock. These are permanently locked hubs, obviously on both sides. So this wheel is going to spin the CV shaft all the time. Now that CV shaft is going to spin the differential carrier all the time as well, which is then going to spin this drive shaft all the time. Sort of odd to think that in two-wheel drive, your front driveline is still spinning, but with fully locked hubs like on a Ram 1500, your front driveline is going to be spinning every time you drive. The only thing that's actually disconnected is the transfer case. So like that Ram 1500, when our hubs are locked, which they are right now, whenever we spin the front wheel, our front axle rotates, and therefore our front differential rotates, and therefore our front drive shaft is gonna rotate anytime these front wheels are moving, whether you're in four-wheel drive or not. So now we'll unlock the hub here. So this wheel, when it spins, will not spin our front axle, it's not gonna spin our front differential, and it's not spinning our front drive shaft, where this wheel is still locked in. And as you see, when I spin this wheel, we spin our front differential, we spin our front axle. So that's the gist of hub lockers. It allows you to disengage the front drive line fully from the front wheels. Now, next we're gonna actually fire this thing up, put it in four-wheel drive, and we're gonna see these hub lockers in action. So first, our hubs are unlocked. We'll get up here, climb on up. We'll throw her in four-wheel drive right now. So put her into gear. And we should see our front differential spinning, our front drive shaft spinning, but those front wheels should not be spinning at all. And now what we'll do is we'll lock our hubs. And again, this will make sure that our wheels are now actually hooked up to our front axle. So we're still in four-wheel drive. We'll put her in first gear. And we should see those wheels start to rotate. speaking of hub lockers, we actually gotta use them right now. Obviously, still got the old ones on, but we're a little bit stuck here in two-wheel drive. We got some early spring snow here, fantastic. We're gonna lock these things up. Four-wheel drive into first gear. Boom! Next, and where I think some people can get confused, is thinking that if you have both your hubs locked while in four-wheel drive, it means that both wheels are going to receive power no matter what. Yes, the wheel or the hub is mechanically locked to the front axle, but that front axle goes to our front differential. And if we have an open front differential, which this truck does, it means that more than likely one wheel is going to receive a lot more power depending on the situation. An open differential usually sends all the power to the wheel with the least amount of traction, which makes open differentials not really that good off-road. And well, if you don't believe me, I'll show you. So here's what we got going on. This wheel is on the ground. This wheel is slightly elevated off the ground. So in theory, this open differential should send all of its power and spin this wheel, and this wheel shouldn't spin at all, despite having our hub fully locked in on that wheel and obviously also locked in on this wheel as well. So once again, we are still in four-wheel drive. Put her into first. So even with these hubs locked, if you have an open front differential, you're really not going to get any more traction than any other four-wheel drive truck. There are a couple of advantages having a hub that can unlock. Like we mentioned, when these hubs are unlocked, the front axle, the front differential, and the front drive shaft will not be spinning when we're driving around in two-wheel drive. So we're gonna greatly minimize the wear on those components because, well, they're just not spinning. Secondly, you could make the argument that we're gonna increase our fuel economy because as these wheels rotate, we're not gonna have that excess drag having to rotate the front drive shaft, the front differential, and the front axles. On the flip side, there are some disadvantages with this setup, mainly that these components are not rotating very often, and oftentimes things get seized. Now with this truck, it has a solid front axle, and all Super Duty trucks have solid front axles. These U-joints, if they don't get used very often, they can tend to get seized, which is a bit of a pain to do. This truck, the U-joints, both of them, were seized solid. Another thing that happens when this differential doesn't spin very often is you can get rust built up just like this because the oil level is only about here. And if this differential isn't constantly spinning, splashing oil into your bearings, all over the componentry, you can start to get rust from condensation. There's actually a perfect example on this cover. You can see the bottom is right here, and this is the top. And you can see we're starting to building some rust because the oil just isn't splashing around every time you're driving. The best thing you can do with this setup to potentially avoid having components seized is, first of all, making sure you're doing your proper maintenance, greasing everything properly. But secondly, every now and again, locking the hub into the axle, and therefore you're going to be spinning up the differential, kicking that oil everywhere, using those components, and just making sure everything is moving. Next, we're actually going to install some new hub lockers on this truck. The driver's side hub, which I'll show you in just a second, is cracked. We got some Warren premium gold hub lockers. Warren declined to partner with me on this video, but it's okay. I still bought them with my hard-earned money because, well, they look pretty fancy. So we got everything apart. That's our old hub locker right there. This right here, this is our axle, and you can see, as I rotate the wheel, the axle doesn't move because the axle is not actually directly attached to the hub and therefore the wheel or the tire. So here's our new Warren hub locker. So we'll push it in, and you can see it's unlocked right now because that axle doesn't spin with the tire. Now what you do with the twisting mechanism is essentially this. You're actually just pushing this collar in, and we'll get it, see if we can get it to push in. So See how it's locked in now? That's all you're doing. And now the axle spins with the tire. So our hub lockers are locked. We make that connection from the axle to the hub with this collar right here. Now if we let go, see how it slowly pops up? There's a spring behind there. Boom. So she's out now, and once again, the axle doesn't spin with our hub. That's all that's going on here. It's this collar that locks everything together. And by twisting, you're just pushing this collar back and forth. Pretty simple, really. Well, I think these things look pretty darn good. Let's head over to the other side, get that banged out. You can see that this hub locker is actually cracked, and when I put new bearings on this front end, there was a good amount of rust all in here, and I think that's why. So what do? We turn our mechanism, which then just pushes this collar back, and then our axle now turns with the wheel, and that is the locking mechanism, and she just popped out right there. Well, fellas, that's gonna wrap it up for today. Hopefully you enjoyed the first video in the new shop. We're still tinkering around with it, like I mentioned. Hopefully hub lockers now make a little bit more sense to you guys. They're pretty simple at their core, but there are some pros and cons to having the ability to unlock your hubs. But ultimately, where the rubber meets the road, having hub lockers does not give you more traction in a four-wheel drive vehicle without having a limited slip or a fully locking front differential alongside these pretty things right here. If you guys did like the video, don't forget to leave that thumbs up. If you guys like content like this, do not forget to subscribe. We are almost at 100,000 subscribers, but the sun is going down and you've had enough of me, so we'll see you in the next frickin' video.